Question: does the Pope shit in the woods? Seriously, as a Catholic, I ought to know this. And before you guys ask, I'm a mouse. Duh. Of course I would be dropping a Mean Girls reference into the Drag Race video because I am that gay. Hey up guys, so continuing the Drag Race UK Season 2 coverage, today we're talking about Episode 2. We've been introduced to all the queens, we've got a good sense of who they are, and now the real race begins. Although I will say I still don't think I have recovered from the elimination of Joe Black last week. It still stings. This week we had one of the most pointless and inconsequential mini challenges the series has ever seen. We had the queens vote for the shadiest, the cockiest, the tradiest, if that's even a word, who looked the hottest as a boy, and the most basic. Followed by a parody Rusical of the stage play / Tom Hooper movie Cats, but except this was Rats the Rusical, which was good. We did actually get a Rusical episode on the first season of Drag Race UK, so it was nice that this challenge has finally come to the UK. Wait, am I making that up? Was there a Rusical challenge last year? I don't think there was. There was an acting challenge out in Draggy, but there wasn't a Rusical. If I'm wrong, correct me. But yes, as far as Rusical episodes go, this was okay. It wasn't as good as like the Madonna Rusical or the Divas Rusical. I had fun with this episode, but I am worried that Season 2 is being a bit overly produced because I strongly disagreed with the queen that went home this week. I didn't think the critiques and judging was all that fair this week, but we'll get into that later. Let's go back to the mini challenge and discuss the whole voting poll results thing. Okay, so the shadiest was unsurprisingly a Whora. She's definitely being edited to be the bitch, the shit stirrer, the villain of this season, so I wasn't surprised she got the shadiest. Then we had the cockiest, which went to Cheney. I'm not sure if I 100% agree with that one because I do think that Asttina is quite cocky. Like, she was very smug about winning her first repeater badge this week. But yeah, Cheney, cocky apparently. I think maybe they're misconstruing loudness with cockiness, but I'm not in the workroom, I don't know shit. The trade of the season, unsurprisingly, went to Tayce because as a boy, Tayce is one lovely Welsh dish. He's just very handsome. He's got lovely cheekbones, very piercing eyes, lovely skin, and he's also just, he comes across as a very nice person. Although, we're gonna get into that whole Tayce or Whora sexual tension thing, because if that's his taste in men, okay. But yeah, Tayce, if you are watching this video, call me. And last but by no means least, we had the most basic, which went to Tiakomi. Unsurprisingly, she's not known for putting looks together. But like I said before, this mini challenge was a little bit pointless. It didn't serve much purpose. I mean, Tiakomi did have the power to assign the roles to everyone in the Rats Rusical, which I thought she did a pretty decent job of, but I guess the only reason they might have done this mini challenge is to spread a little shade in the workroom, you know, get them all voting for who they think's the bitchiest and the cockiest and, you know, the prettiest. But really, even that was just confirming what they and we already knew. But something just popped into my head just now. Maybe the producers knew about the relationship between Tayce and a Whora, so they wanted an excuse to bring that to the surface, and they made them have that conversation about, ooh, who would you think the prettiest trade is? Well, obviously you, babes, because we slept together. I don't know if they've actually slept together. Tayce hinted at that, but yeah, really? After the episode, I googled if they were in a relationship, and it turns out that Tayce and Whora are living together in London. I don't know if that means they're dating, if they're sleeping together, or if they're just friends who live together and also do drag. So yes, it's all speculation. But even the producers are hinting at that because we had that sneak peek of next week's episode and Cheney's like, oh, I sense some sexual tension between Tayce and Whora. Sorry, my Scottish accent is shite. So let's talk about the main challenge this week, the Rusical. Love that it was a parody of Tom Hooper's abysmal CGI schlockfest cat. I loved all the jabs at the CGI in the lyrics, they were fantastic. But yeah, the Rusical is always a good challenge for the queens to show off their singing, dancing, and acting abilities. So it was tailor-made for Veronica Green, but this was her chance to shine, and boy, did she. She even foreshadowed her win of this challenge in the confessionals, which is something you should never do on Drag Race. Sorry, Jan. She did have the meatiest part as Evita, but she smashed it. As soon as she started twirling her mice tassel nipple thingies, I was like, yep, she's won it. Yes, I have mice around the flat because I own 2 cats. Did anybody else fall in love with Veronica Green this week? I mean, I already liked her last week because she was a Lancashire queen and she seemed very nice, but this week she proved she's a performer, she came to play, she is a contender, and she's also got great looks as well. I loved her runway look where she sort of morphed into the female robot from Metropolis. I love a good sci-fi reference, and once again she looked a lot like Courtney Act. But yeah, Veronica Green was, in my humble opinion, the clear winner of this week, but I still took issue with the judging this week. I do agree that Tayce should have been in the bottom because during the Rusical, she looked a bit frazzled. You could tell she got in her own head after she forgot that line. And also her runway look wasn't bad. I didn't even notice the whole black corset thing under the red dress, but the blood capsule, I wasn't crazy on. I thought that was a bit unnecessary. When the category is surprise, surprise, it didn't really surprise me. I love Tayce, but she did have a little bit of a wobble this week. Chaney, I understand why she was in the bottom 3. She was a little rusty dance-wise this week, but she pulled it off to a passable enough standard in the Rusical. It wasn't a disaster, but it wasn't like, whoa, that chicken dance. But I do think that she should have been the one that lip-synced against Tayce. I just think because she has such a lovable personality that the producers want to keep her around. What I don't agree with this week though is Valentine being in the bottom 3. I thought she was unfairly read this week. I feel like she got way harsher critiques than she deserved. After the episode finished, we went back and watched the Rusical again, and I really watched her performance, and honestly, I didn't think it was that bad. It didn't blow me away or anything, but it definitely would have been enough to be what I would classify as safe. Michelle was saying she looked lost on the stage or that she got in her own head, but I didn't see that when I watched her performance back. She gave it some personality, tried to make it funny. She did that thing with the tail to make it look, you know, like a dick, so she did do something with it. But a red flag went up for me for Valentine the moment she started talking about her upbringing as a traveler. That tends to be a bad sign when out of nowhere someone's really heartfelt backstory just gets brought up unannounced, because it means like the producers have coerced out of them so they can get their confessional and their sad sob story into the show before they've left. Yeah, as soon as she started going on about how difficult her upbringing was as a traveler, I was like, oh dear, she might be in the bottom, and I was right. The thing is, she didn't deserve to be in the bottom. Both her performance in the Rusical and her runway look, I thought was enough to keep her safe. But this is why I worry season 2 feels more produced than season 1 was, because Valentine wasn't the worst this week, but they still found a way to send her home. So yeah, that's my rant, that's done with. I will say though, I think Bimini Bon-Boulash really pulled it back this week. She did a great job in the Rusical as the punky rat, what was it, diphtheria? Yeah, she was really giving it some hardcore punk energy. And next to her, Whora played Dysentery the rat. Brilliant. She kind of got lost next to her because they were a double act. Bimini's energy levels were here and Whora's energy levels were here. So when you watch them two on the stage, she kind of just like dwindled next to Bimini. So Whora, in my opinion, should have been in the bottom 3 this week, but Whora does provide the show with some drama, and also she has some sort of sexual history with Tayce, and of course the producers are gonna wanna milk that for all it's worth. That's stuff that the audience wants to see more of, so they'll keep her around, they'll keep her safe for more weeks. She can't win the show, but she'll stick around long enough to create some drama for sure. Yeah, Whora should have been bottom 3. Bimini could have been top 3, I thought, this week if her runway look hadn't been such a wah-wah, like a paint balloon thing. Just, yeah, it was kind of like Asia O'Hara with the butterflies. It just didn't work, and it just was kind of sad to see happen. But yeah, I feel like Bimini could have been in the top 3 this week, maybe squeezed out. Who would she squeeze out? Maybe Tiakomi, because Tiakomi is another one where she did a great job in the Rusical, but again, her runway look wasn't so polished. It was maybe slightly better than Bimini's, but there wasn't much narrative with her surprise. Like, she went from leather daddy to what, salsa dancer? And I'm like, what? What is the storyline there? What? How does that happen? I don't know, is it just a complete shock value of going from masculine to feminine? Is that the surprise? There wasn't a clear through line between the two concepts for Tiakomi. She picked a great part for herself, just came in at the end, brought some comedy, had a great death scene. The ear on the back was just, you know, comedy gold when she crawled off the stage. It's just like, genius. Yes, give her the Olivier. But I'm still happy that Tiakomi was in the top 3, even though I feel like Bimini could have been in the top 3 if her runway was better. The top 3 queens this week were Veronica Green, Tiakomi, and Ellie Diamond, which makes 2 top 3s for Ellie Diamond, which proves she is consistent. She had not 1, but 2 reveals this week, which was a nice surprise. She had that lovely Wizard of Oz narrative that was very well constructed, well thought out. It was like, yeah, she's definitely one to watch out for. She could actually be a dark horse. I do like Ellie Diamond, but I do want to see a little bit more in terms of personality from her, because I'm just not in love with her yet. As for the lip sync this week, I have some thoughts on it. It was between Tayce and Cherry Valentine, and it was the song Memory from the musical Cats, of course. And I get why they went with this song, you know, because it's in theme of the week's episode, but it was a bit of a boring song choice. Neither Tayce or Cherry Valentine were bad in this lip sync, but it did feel a bit lackluster. When it comes to lip syncing a song like Memory, you can go one of 2 ways. You can go emotional and serious, or you can go comedic. And both the queens decided to go emotional and serious. They were just kind of standing there, feeling the music, which was fine, but it was just so vanilla. Tayce won the lip sync, which I do think was fair. She seemed to have a bit more gravitas with the song than Cherry Valentine did. Although honestly, I think the reason Cherry Valentine lost was because she was blindsided by the fact that she was in the bottom 2. I think she thought she was going to be safe because she did do a good job. She should have been saved, but for some reason she found herself in the bottom 2, like, unfairly. She said it right at the end in her confessional that she felt robbed, and she was. And as sad as I am to see Cherry Valentine go, I'm still happy that Tayce stayed because I preferred Tayce personally. But Cherry did leave on a funny note when she went, "Oh, rats." That was well done. So as of episode 2, my current favorite at the moment is Veronica Green. Not just because she's from the north, but she seems genuinely kind, talented, nice, just a good player as well. She's clearly got the talent and she's also got the looks. Cheney was my favorite last week, but he lost a few points this week because of how he was coming across in the workroom. He was quite defensive when it came to, you know, chatting with the queens about his performance, and he just felt very abrasive. Maybe it's just Scottishness, but yes, he wasn't very congenial, and it was constructive criticism that the queens were giving him, so calm down, honey. Bimini Bon-Boulash definitely climbed a few spots this week for me because of how she brought it to the challenge, and she really was fighting to be there, and like, I was impressed. Episode 3 is going to be a design challenge, which is a real sink or swim challenge for a lot of queens. What about you guys? Who are your favorite queens as of week 2? Whatever you have to say, let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you want more movie and TV content, click subscribe. And if you want to follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, all that box on the video description down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Lee Carefield, and I'll see you next time.